Welcome everyone to the Beyond Bitcoin Whaletank. This is episode 222, and today is Saturday, September 2nd, 2017. As every week, we open up our Beyond Bit stores to give to projects that RSVP and impress us in these hangouts. We have a little simple rule set that we apply based on the RSVPs to our RSVP thread for the Whaletank Hangouts. So if you have a project and you post to this Hangout thread with your project and you provide information about it, we base the order of the people who you listen to on this Hangout by the upvotes that they receive on the Steemit platform. Now, with that said, there are a couple rules that allow you to do a couple extra powerful things using your own tokens. But before I say anything about that, I will say that at the end of every week, we give 1,000 Beyond Bits, which are worth a lot of money in upvotes on the Steem platform, to the project that we are most impressed with. Now, with that said, to have this and to be able to earn this, you have to have a token that you are talking about for your project on the BitShares DEX. So if you have a token on the BitShares DEX and you post your project, as long as you provide a link, we actually will double and power up your upvote percentage by an extra 100% in terms of the order that your project is covered. Now, with that said, there's another power-up where you can actually use your tokens to distribute them to the guest list at these Hangouts. When you distribute to this guest list, we can give you extra time out of your 15-minute slot. So this is up to 10 minutes, depending on whether the community is interested enough in your project and also interested enough in the number of tokens that you are providing them for signing the guest list to this Hangout. Now, with that said, there is a final power-up. And this final power-up is that the 1,000 Beyond Bits that were given, that are given and announced to be given to somebody at the next, on the next RSVP thread from this Hangout, the person who's awarded those tokens this week, you might be able to leverage your tokens behind the scenes in the 7 days up to the next Hangout to try to get me to change my mind about who got those 1,000 tokens. So if you think it's unfair that somebody received 1,000 tokens and you would like to kind of power up and utilize your tokens to kind of sway my opinions on it, you can give us extra tokens or maybe offer to give the guest list extra tokens behind the scenes during that week up to the next Whaletank Hangout. So with that said, I appreciate everybody who joins up every week, and I appreciate all of those who promote our Hangouts, and also those who provide editing and the posting of these Hangouts to Steem and elsewhere on the internet. We very much support you, and if you are doing so and you are unaware, or we are unaware of you, please make sure that you reach out to me at beyondbitcoin@gmail.com so I can help you. With that said, we have tokens, we can build things, and this is what these Hangouts are for. And for the guest list today, we have the Marky Mark. He is number 1 for Project Build a Whale. There will be followed by Community Casino and Nick Nass, and I believe Bethalia will be talking as well. After that will be Chief Master from Points, and then we will talk to Sir Lunch from the Blockchain Documentary, and following that up will be Bam Bam 808, and he will be talking about Steemit's Got Talent. So with that said, I look forward to hearing from these projects and potentially distributing some of our upvote tokens that are worth real cryptocurrency and upvotes, and making your own posts be much more visible on the Steemit platform and on ChainBB forums. It will enable to power you up and give you tokens that you can then use to support others in the ecosystem. I thank all of you for stepping into the arena, into the Whaletank, and we will start with the Marky Mark. You have your 15 minutes starting now.
Hey, sorry about that. Just switching to hold it down. How's it going? We're here to announce the Build a Whale. We had a couple hiccups this week, so we're just getting started to a new thing. But I think we have a new plan that's going to be really good going forward. We have a couple new curators. We have a new announcement. And we've been focused on a lot of trying to gain some steam power. Let me go back a little bit for people that don't know what Build a Whale is. Build a Whale is a bidding bot similar to Booster and Belly Rub and all those bots. But the different part of it is that we have a human aspect. Is instead of just going to a black hole, we respond to people and try to be more active and responsive. But we also have a curation back end that anything that comes into us is kind of like a nomination or a vote for something, and then we go through and take those and curate them with a human and look at the best content and find it and put out a digest each week. So that's what we've been doing for a little while. We had some changes, but what we're going to be doing going forward is the same thing, but we're going to be offering a way to buy a sponsor spot in the post. So each daily post, there'll be an opportunity for a sponsor to be in there, and we're working out the value, but I think right now it's going to be 3 Steam. The reason for the Steam and not SBD is to keep it separate so it doesn't get confused by the bot. So what we'll do is offer a way for people to buy in a spot as a sponsor, and that'll show separately. It'll be disclosed, so it's not going to be blended in with the regular part of the curation. And they'll be able to basically buy an advertisement for their post. We're going to work out the details on the type of post, like we want to make it family friendly and stuff like that, but we need to kind of work out the details how we're going to do it. And ultimately, we want to attach it to a coin, like the curation coin or something like that, so they can get a token every week. They'll win one, or they'll be for sale. Either way, we haven't decided. And then they can use those to redeem to get a sponsored spot. I've been talking with a few people. I have a few contacts I've made this week, which is really exciting, that I think we might have some opportunities to get some more steam power. We're coming in a couple days. We're going to have to renew our steam power through Minnow Booster, which is not very cost effective because it's at a loss as it is. And then now with the new rates, it's going to be even more of a loss. So I've been actively trying to find a better sponsor for the steam power, and something that doesn't expire every 4 weeks and have to go through a 7-day delay and all that stuff. So it works best for everybody. So if anyone wants to donate steam power, or if they want to sell some steam power, definitely give me a chat. I'll always be on Discord, or you can reach me on Steam Chat. So if anyone had any questions or wanted to talk about it, any of the changes or anything, or if you had anything fuzzy.
I definitely have a bunch of questions. Does anybody else have questions before I start?
Yeah, if you don't mind, could you elaborate a little bit, please, on the bidding aspect?
All right.
Since I'm unfamiliar with it.
Okay. The bidding is very similar to a lot of the bots that are out there now. What it is there's every vote that you make at 100% will take up 2% of your voting power. You gain exactly 20% per day you can recharge. So what we do is we have a bidding window of 2.4 hours, which works out to 10 votes a day, which exactly uses up the voting power 100%. And then every new voting window is 100% vote. And people will bid 10 cents to 50 cents to get a portion of that vote. And then at the end of the 2.4 hours, we crunch the numbers and come up with a coefficient for every user. And then that's vote, which will cost our bot 2% voting power, and then it sleeps for 2.4 hours, recharges at 2% and comes back to 100%, and then looks at the current votes or bids and basically votes on those. So what we've done is attached in the back end, we go through the bids and filter out the junk, and then come up with the best content, and then we write a post every day that highlights 3 to 5 of those posts to say this is awesome content, and gives a little description and links to it and gives them some more exposure. And we're looking at adding a few more things, like we're going to add a curation trail that'll follow out those posts to give them a little bit more incentive, and some other things like maybe putting Beyond Bits on their post, offering a curation coin where the winners can come back and get a selected post of theirs if it meets that criteria, like it's safe for family and all that stuff and not porn or anything like that. And then they can be put into a future digest. So that's something we're working out the details. We're trying to figure out the numbers that would work, whether the coin will be purchasable or if it's just available through winning it, if we make them available daily or weekly. So we have to work out those semantics.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
I think it was definitely a step in the right direction. Then I'll have to study more.
Okay. It's similar to Booster Belly Rub. They've been around for a while. We're new in the block. We've been around for about a month. And we're doing the same thing, but we have more of a human touch, and we have a curation digest that's similar to OCD Curie, that is kind of like a value add that's free and comes with the service.
Cool.
Anyone else have anything?
Yes, actually, I do have one question, because
Shoot.
we're going to start opening up the community vote tokens more and more, right? And the whale trails tokens, or the ability to do the trails tokens, will also open it up for a lot of people who don't necessarily have a lot of Steam power themselves, but they might have a community of 1,000 members who appreciate them and will back their Whale Trails token, right?
Yep.
With their own Steam power. And as these things are built and they come online, would you be interested in the ability to accept those tokens as a form of payment? Just so I know whenever I'm talking to other people about it.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested to find out the details on that. We definitely want to do a curation trail of some sort where we follow the curated posts that were selected to give them more exposure and get them some more value add for getting into the curation digest. So it's more than just the exposure of the digest. You get a lot more for being in there, make it a bigger incentive to put out good content and reward people that do. But yeah, it's definitely something we would be interested in.
That sounds good, man. I greatly appreciate what you're doing. Now, let me ask you, with the tokens that you've received up to this point, what have you used them for?
I've used them for
up to now.
I used them to power up a lot of my posts, as well as some of the previous posts were for Build a Whale, and then we stopped doing that, trying to build it more organically. In the future, we're going to be powering up all the Build a Whale posts with like 10 or 20 Beyond Bits. This previous Beyond Bits that I used to power up my own post are to gain Steam power, which are going to be delegated to Build a Whale. I'm going to be delegating almost all my Steam power directly to Build a Whale to increase the reward pool and to offer more value for it. So everything I've used them for was to build up Steam power to get Build a Whale bigger. And my goal is, right now we're at 20,600 Steam power. My goal is to get to 100,000 as soon as I can. The plan was to do it this week, but the prices went up 33%. So we're trying to work out a deal with some bigger people that might be able to cover that at a place that would make it worthwhile for us, so the loss isn't so bad, and maybe make some money. But our goal is to get the Steam power up in the 100,000 to 500,000 range, so we can compete with things like Booster right off the top. For the people that, I would say about 80% of people that use it are just looking for that quick vote back and want a reward for that, and that's it. And 20% are probably really interested in the curation, and we want to change that. And these additional value adds, I think, will do that. But for the immediate, you need to have a strong hammer, a big vote to get people interested, and then the rest, I think, will come from there.
I really like the idea of having a digest, essentially like a magazine kind of every day or every week that, or really any time interval, really, that shows you the top content that has been curated and found. It's kind of like finding the cream of the crop and showing it. And I think that if you have multiple different services that do this, it enriches the ecosystem, especially if they compete. So I'm very interested in projects like Booster in this.
I think that's a good idea for. Well, I think we had even mentioned or talked about this in the past. I think it's a good idea even for the whale shares beyond bits and such, probably. But it's a big change from yesterday when I was talking with Marky Mark. But yeah, this definitely kicks it a step up from which is what I was saying. You kind of just rethink the model a bit, but it definitely makes it a lot more attractive right off the bat, I think.
One thing we could actually do is maybe have a whale share section into the digest that have whale share related things or whatever. But we definitely want to go a lot further than what we're doing now. Right now, we're basically a combination of not really Rando Whale, more Booster and Curie. It's a combination of the bidding bot and the curation, but we want to start branching out to additional curation. So we have like a crypto digest, a art or leisure type of digest, travel, music, or any of those things that we find that we're getting a lot of votes on or a lot of bids for. We can separate into separate ones, but till we have a reward pool that will take that type of customer base, we can't really split out, and we have to get the rewards on the post to make it worthwhile to go that much effort. But that's the plan, is to spread it out quite a bit. One of the things that we hope can do that is increasing the reward pool, doing the voting on the post and getting it larger.
Yeah, just for like a perspective. I mean, look. Well, they don't really have to pay, but even like minnow support, it's not like you get maybe a lot of votes, but it's not like a huge monetary thing. But look how they've grown too. So yeah, it's really about people want exposure, and if you can find other ways, and just even to like do the extra curation and give them extra exposure is a big value add in itself.
Yeah, the minnow support's really popular, and we're looking at making a second or third bot. We actually want to have about 5 bots, but we're looking at having multiple bots that do some additional things as well. Some of them will be trail bots. Some of them will be things that help boost up Build a Whale's voting power, kind of like what Rando does. And then some other additional things that offer that type of stuff. Maybe one that's kind of similar to minnow support, where it's a daily thing or whatever that can go in there, or something that we go through and vote on stuff. But yeah, that's definitely some things we have in mind.
Just 2 other quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, for the curation aspect of it, did you ever consider doing the best and the worst to kind of highlight the worst to discourage people, getting just spamming posts and getting the value off of that?
That's
not at
funny.
all. It's actually a very interesting idea. Only problem is, and I do like the idea a lot. The only problem is people that are bidding are customers, and they put something in and then you smash them. I don't know. I have to think about that, but that's definitely something I haven't thought about at all, and I like the idea. It definitely brings an aspect to it that would bring additional content.
Right.
I wouldn't
expect it. I understand if it would be bad when you reach a level of quality where everything is at least acceptable, then you wouldn't want to do it at all. But if they're just doing spam or plagiarism and stuff, then you could definitely highlight it, and maybe people will take more note.
Well, that's definitely. It's funny in a way. If you want to highlight that, maybe it's best to just not address. It's like. Yeah, no, just.
It could.
I mean, you could ignore it for the money, or you could, because if you think about it, when they buy your votes, you get the initial Steam dollars from it, but that's as much as they're going to get. They're not really going to give you any curation rewards. If you get legitimate good posts, you're going to get a lot more curation rewards off of upvoting content like that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
That might be actually a better approach, and well, I mean, short of for like outright garbage, but to focus on the posts that brought in the least versus the most potential curation rewards. Maybe that's a less a less dramatic angle, maybe. Well, it definitely needs some more thinking.
That would basically say the ones that are basically haven't upvoted much. And I don't know if people would want to be highlighted that way, because basically the lowest curation rewards means that they didn't make anything on their post. And I have to do some thinking, but I like the idea
right,
a lot.
I'm
just afraid that it might make us look like a nasty type of thing. Gonzo asked a question
for either
which I want to
aspect.
answer too.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to interrupt you, gentlemen, but we are over the 15-minute limit. Since there is not currently a token involved in this, I would like to make sure that you guys are aware that the power up to go past 15 minutes is kind of over for right now. But with that said, whenever you guys do get a token that you guys are able to leverage, feel free to use those tokens during this period of time to enhance and add time to your portion of your segment of the hangout. Now,
can I just answer Gonzo's question real quick?
Unfortunately, you cannot.
Okay, I'll just
what I will say though is if you want to give Gonzo and anybody else the ability to reach out to you, please go ahead and do so now.
Okay, I'm on Discord under Whale Shares as the Marky Mark, and I'm always on Steam Chat too as well. That pings my phone, so I'm available there as well if anyone has any questions. And we also have the Build a Whale Discord I'll post up.
Sounds good. Thank you for everything. And if this type of project resonates with you as a value proposition that you can back in some way, shape, or form, always remember that the value that you can provide, there's other ways to provide value other than money. And the value that you provide is unique in its own way. So think about those value propositions that you can offer. Not only to Beyond Bitcoin and our community as a whole, but to the individual projects that you resonate with. Now, with that said, we will go ahead and we will move on to Nick Nass of the Community Casino. And I believe Bethalia is also going to be speaking.
Okay, I didn't know my mic was working. Good morning, you guys. Fuzzy, I really appreciate you guys hosting this, and I really love this atmosphere. So I'm just going to give some developments and what's new, and then Leah is going to talk about some of the not-for-profits research she's been doing and where we're at on that. So we're currently running just the poker contest on Steam with the SPL, and we do a weekly poker, and the poker tournament that I am running and C Casino is running has been very popular and has been taken off, and especially with the tokens, Fuzzy, it really helps and it really puts it out there for people to see, and everybody's really enjoying it, so it's really nice. The idea is that we're going to start blackjack through Steam it, I believe on Monday or next week sometime, and continue adding some games. That's just the beginning goal. I don't know if you guys have heard us before talk, so I'll kind of go into what Community Casino is. Community Casino, and the idea behind it is to give back to the community. We would like to eventually create a brick and mortar casino where 50% of profits go to the community surrounding that physical casino. When we are a long way from that, but we are working on it. We're starting on Steam it. Eventually, hopefully, we'll have a casino server or a website where people can play. We're still working out the details of that. I have been in contact with a few developers, figuring out the costs, deciding whether I'm going to do it myself or hire a developer. I've started just some small work on our site. And on our site, we're going to, for now, it's going to be pretty simple. Kind of give some more information about what we're doing and nonprofits that we're working with. One of the nonprofits that I've been in talks with is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk that I've been friends with for a long time. And one of the big things I think with all of us at Community Casino is trying to gratify homelessness. That's one of our biggest things. And my friend, this Vietnamese monk, one of the things he does is he has a nonprofit that gives back to people who've been through struggles and really need that help. And that's one of the things we'd like to do, or at least one of the initial communities that we would like to give back to. So when working on the development of the website, hopefully before too long, we'll have something, alpha version up. And I'm still looking for some kind of casino basic application to run. We may have to hire somebody at some point, but for now, we're just looking for something simple to get going. We also have done a leaderboard tracking all the players, which has gone over very well. Eventually connect them to a token at some point. We don't know how that's going to work exactly, but that's the idea. And also, there's something that I really loved about how the leaderboard worked out. And what we do is we give a point for the upvote and a comment, which is a call for the poker game. And that's up to 4 points a week. And then there's a point for winning the contest, or 3 points, sorry. And then there's a 3-point bonus for writing a post about Community Casino or the poker game. And then we've already been getting people writing some really excellent posts and really good promotion. And that's been amazing. And I'm really stoked about that aspect of our leaderboard. But other than that, I wanted to go into, wanted Beth to talk about some of the stuff that she's been researching for the nonprofit. There's some certain aspects in certain of nonprofits that we would like to take advantage of in a couple states. And I think Beth has some stuff on that. Can't hear you, Beth. Try restarting. Anybody have any questions while she's trying to figure it out?
Yeah, I do, if you don't mind. I was interested in the you mentioned a brick and mortar location where you support the community with it. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, this isn't just a Steam It idea that we have. This is a long-term goal. We're gonna want to. We don't have huge investments, and we're not going to take any huge investments at this point. So we're going to kind of work our way up to it. But yeah, the plan would be to first do a online casino, and then eventually open a casino maybe in Vegas. There's a lot of failing casinos in Vegas, and Chief Mapster has a lot of information on that. But the idea would be to buy a casino, because there's a lot of opportunities right now. We'd have to have a little bit of a following first, and we do have some connections in the industry. Once we open it up, we would give a 50% share of our profits to the community, whether it's homelessness, whether it's giving food, all sorts of different things would go back to the community. Where if you look at the profits now, the biggest share of any kind of casino would maybe be on the reservations, and that's just because they're required to. But generally, casinos are really greedy. They're making millions of billions of dollars. And our idea is we're not trying to get rich off it, maybe sustain ourselves, but we really want to give back.
Okay,
Does that
that's
answer your
interesting.
question?
Yeah. But to go a little bit deeper, so you think you would support residents, or would you support like small businesses to keep their prices, to help keep their prices low for the visitors?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Beth. That's an option. For us, I think I'll let Beth kind of go into it, but Beth has a thing about homelessness, and so do I. I mean, I've been in a situation where I was pretty much down on my luck, and I really needed a boost, and I got some help. So it really means a lot to us, that situation, people are in. So that's one of the things we really want to help. And so however we can do it, that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. And if I could just talk a little bit now.
Of course, of course.
Sorry about that. So to answer that question, once we understand and get a better handle on the way that we will be distributing the 50% profits to the community, that'll really clarify who and how we support our community. I've been spending the week looking into the SPC, which is a social purpose corporation that Chief talked about, I think, a week ago, and trying to decide if that's the way that we should go or if we should create our own corporate foundation. Either way, we would be accepting LOIs, which is letters of intent from, I'm not sure if we would do it from individuals or, like you're saying, businesses or other entities in our communities. But someone, for instance, would submit a letter of intent, LOI, which would request funds for anything from the school districts, perhaps, to, like we're talking about, other foundations that help eradicate homelessness. And then, depending on whether we go the SPC route or the foundation route, there will be a board of directors in place that would look at the LOIs and decide which ones we choose to fund. Right now, it looks to me like the SPC is heavily taxed. It looks like if our corporation, Community Casino, was an SPC, our profits get taxed first, and then when we pay out our shareholders, those payouts would get taxed as well, like individually. So that's kind of a double tax. Whereas if we go the corporate foundation route, Community Casino would take 50% of our profits and donate it to our own foundation, which is a tax-free, tax-deductible donation, at least in the States. And then that foundation, working as a nonprofit, would then disseminate the funds that we had procured over the time and sorry, I'm reading. Anyway, then we would be able to give donations also tax-free to, like I said, where the communities that we are trying to help. So that's what I've got. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Again, we have a lot more work before we can get there, but we have talked to a couple different projects that we're interested in working with too, until we have a nonprofit and our own organization or our own nonprofit. But any support we can get, if any of you guys can help at all, whether it's the winning the Whaletank or anything, I mean, it go a long way, and we wouldn't take advantage of it, and we appreciate it, and would never take it for granted. That's for sure. And if you guys want to help, to go good causes.
Absolutely. And Blackjack is going to go live on Monday, so that'll be fun. It'll be our second Community Casino game. So, and like Nick said, the Hold'em that he runs is really blowing up. It's so much fun. So yeah, any support from any of you guys would be most appreciated.
I'll post our Discord channel on here too when I get a chance. And if you guys have any questions, please ask.
I think it's awesome that you're willing to, help support communities with a portion of the proceeds. Will you be doing any sort of initial testing with online communities beforehand?
Do you mean as far as like an online casino, or what kind of online?
Well, like supporting the online communities that surround and interact with your casino.
Absolutely. We need to make a profit first, which we're not doing yet. So, but yeah, we're going to start online. And so whatever we can find that needs help, we have partnered already with Voice Shares, who was on here a little while ago, and build a whale. So already we're using our time and our effort, at least, to help build our communities.
But yeah, we it's definitely something to look into. And if you have any suggestions as far as that, I could just let us know. I would take any advice or any suggestions. Yeah, I've already talked to a friend of mine too, so I was hoping that I would get a donation at some point down, not very long from now, and just even if it's a small one, and send it their way to kind of get some money. If we say we make a little bit of a profit off these Steam games, send a small check. But hopefully we will eventually get a little site going and get enough traffic. I think that's the biggest thing in any business is the advertising and getting following at all. So that's kind of why we're going really slow. I mean, we don't have the money to do big advertising campaigns and compete with all these casinos. So we have a different approach, and slow and steady pretty much. We're not going to go too slow, but we're not going to go out and rush it and be bankrupt and be a failure. So appreciate you guys.
Well, I'll ask you guys one question first off before I give any of my thoughts, but that would be the obvious question that I like to ask all the people who join up with projects, and that is, how are Beyond Bits currently helping you?
Publicity, I think.
So publicity is actually as big or maybe bigger, obviously, than to you guys at this point as a use for them than even the money.
I mean, the money helps because we can increase the pot, and then that allows more people get interested. You know how people are. If they see a higher, bigger, larger pot, they're going to be interested, and that's definitely cool. And every little bit helps, no matter who it is or what it is. And it's that what we've gotten from you so far, Fuzzy, is amazing. I think it actually brought a lot of new people in. We're getting hundreds of minnow votes, and it's amazing. That's even more amazing than the big whale votes sometimes, just to have a lot of people interested in it. But that publicity, getting it up on the hot page, letting people see it, because there's a lot of junk out there and people were seeing all that junk. So,
well, I'm glad to hear that it's helping you. Please keep me up to date on how they're helping you. I'm not aware if everybody knows, but I tend to pass a little bit of tokens out to everybody every week. I don't just pass out the 1,000. But I kind of want to give you all an opportunity to prove to me what you can do with the tokens that I give you, and the ones who consistently prove that they're doing amazing things with them and coming on here to talk about it are in a great position to continue getting larger and larger potential rewards. So with that said, I appreciate all of you guys doing this, and I would like to, of course, talk about many other things with this, but obviously we can move this to next Saturday. And because we have about 30 seconds left, and I would like to ask you guys, since you guys don't have a token currently, if there's any way that people can reach out to you and contact you.
Yeah, I'll put our Discord channel. We have Team Epic Discord channel, which is where we run C Casino or Community Casino, and I'll put that in the chat right now.
Cool. I would love to talk to you guys a little bit at the after party if you guys are around. Remind me to talk to you a little bit about maybe how you guys could leverage and to be part of the ShareBits ecosystem that we're building. It might help you guys in a lot of ways, but we'll talk to you guys about that after this. Now, with that said, thank you for joining up today and providing updates on your project. The people who are honest and transparent about their progress, their pitfalls, the getting up and building stuff even after encountering pitfalls. Those are the people who I've found are more trustworthy. They don't give up. So when you hear about people who are coming on here and they're giving all of the details about what's going on with their projects, they tend to be opening themselves up in a lot of ways that others in the crypto ecosystem don't really want to open themselves up. And that honesty, we believe, is going to bring a lot of value over time that the rest of the ecosystem that is kind of following a traditional model on things will have to recognize. So you guys are part of something very important and some really cool test cases with this stuff. So I appreciate everybody who's part of this. Now, with that said, and he's going to be talking about point system, and I will go ahead and I'll give you your 15 minutes starting now if you're ready.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. It's actually so cold here, we had to turn the heat on in Akron, just to let everybody know. And it's still summer or whatever it is. But points, it's been moving pretty fast. It's actually been worked on for a little bit. It's just changed names. And the one you see right now with an S is kind of the one that makes our pre-launch. The official name will come out October 2nd. It's a cryptocurrency that's focused on getting big businesses, nonprofits, video games, basically sporting events, stuff like that, using points as a way to reward their followers, also on other social media. And also the main reason is to introduce them to cryptocurrency. But these points, because you get points everywhere, you go to Speedway, the gas station, you get points for the reward program. So we're actually got 2 people signed up right now to use points. The first one was really cool. It's like what they did was talking about fighting homelessness. For whatever reason, same with me. I've been homeless a couple times in my life, and I really want to help this community, make sure it doesn't keep going on. And the one thing about this is that there's so much fear when you're homeless. So to get rid of this fear, we like Fuzzy says, you gamify stuff. Gamifying stuff, when you play video games, you lose that fear, and you're more willing to make changes and do stuff. So what Developods is they do housing out of shipping containers, and it's one of the industries we've been involved in. And it's one of a not a close friend, but a friend, Monique Stevenson. She's her first cousin's Bill Gates, but she doesn't even use that. But her and her partner started this company called Developods. She's a former cargo specialist in the Navy, and they build houses out of shipping containers. They're very cost effective. They cut costs by 35%, take 40% less time, eco-friendly, transportable, adaptable, stronger, all the different things. So basically, what all different things we're trying to teach homeless people to become. So what perfect people, business or nonprofit to partner with. Developods is the business profit that we're partnering with, and their nonprofit called Helping Humanity is another part we're going to help. So basically, what we're going to do with they're building a new project outside of Akron in Millersburg, near Canton area, and it's the build's finalizing right now. She's flying up one more time, and then they're going to start building. But we're going to use points, the cryptocurrency, as a way to incentivize the homeless. Because a lot of this homeless, they stay homeless because they don't change anything when they get a free place to live. So like say if they go to work the days and times they're supposed to work, they'll get rewarded with points. They completed some self-improvement projects they set for themselves or other people set for them. They were rewarded with points. They complete holistic therapy and perform yoga. They get points as well. So basically whatever, we're trying to gamify their lives to help them become a better person. With a goal of ending homelessness, chronic homelessness. So that's the first person we signed up. That was a few days ago. We just signed up a second nonprofit, Autism Awareness. Someone I went to high school with named Alex Hale. He speaks on their behalf. He has autism because I really have a special place in my heart for that. So basically what he's going to do is we're going to sponsor a speaker series for him. Points will sponsor it, and he's going to go to all different schools talking about autism, and because he had a lot of big problems in high school. And actually I used to make fun of him, people used to make fun of him, and we kind of bonded over that because I apologized, and he was acting a certain way, and we all moved forward. But now I'm helping him try to help other people avoid that whole situation. So Points will be sponsoring him and his mother. They both have radio shows right now. One's called After Further Review. It's on iTunes. Talk about sports. So basically, he's gonna go to different high schools all over Ohio, the biggest ones, and talk about cryptocurrency, autism, and points, and how it can be used to gamify their lives. So that's the second person. The third person we're talking to, or company, it's actually a really big one, is ExxonMobil. A former friend of mine, but she's a friend. She was a gymnast. She works for them, and she actually told me about the rewards program that came out a few years before. She wasn't supposed to tell me, but on Thanksgiving one day, and she works for ExxonMobil still. So they're updating the rewards program, and what better way to win cryptocurrency? Because a lot of the things, the good thing about points is a lot of these businesses will be share dropped because they sign up early, a percentage of these points. And for them, they will hold on to points for investment purposes to pay for the rewards program. So that kind of balances out the market as well. So those are kind of 3 bigger picture things, not really tied to Steemit. Closer to Steemit, we have the Beat Battle League.
What up, guys?
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
But basically, the top 3 people in the league every month will have the option to redeem their points for actual cryptocurrency points. And if they do so, they'll get that in their wallet, and then they'll reset to 0, and they start back up the climb. Can you hear me now?
Perfectly.
All right. So basically, they have the option to redeem it or not redeem it based on if they need the money, or if, say they want to kind of focus on long-term investment, they can hold on to the points. So it's kind of solving that problem. And then I guess the last thing I can touch, because I want to answer some questions, is how we use the Beyond Bit. It's kind of triggered. Alex said this, I think it was last week, about how humans give currency value. So really, I look at the currencies that are big here in Steemit are yours, Beyond Bits, and then JP, Whale Shares, both of you. And besides the voting power, people give value because of your place in the community. So doing that's what I did. People need to see my posts, and put them all on the hot page so that they know that I'm going to be here around for the long term and position myself as a top influencer, top leader in this, the site. Because the content's good, but they were getting like 30, 40 likes. Now they're all getting 80, 90, 70. So they're actually getting some traction. So basically, I use them for publicity, public awareness, and all points related. Most of them are points related. And actually, that got probably about 10 people. I sent those links. So then they saw how much money it made and how many likes it got. And they got on Steemit, and these are big people in their communities. So that's probably about 6 or 7 people I got just because of that. That are big leaders in communities outside of Steemit, and now they just joined because now they see that people respond to good projects. So now they're going to bring their projects on Steemit. So that 1,000 were used to build my awareness. People would see my content and place me as a leadership in this community. It was used to get other people on board. It was used to get clients and nonprofits signed on for points, and to make sure everybody saw the articles about points, because this is a pre-launch phase, public awareness. I kind of model off the iPhone. They need to know about it first, but from different ways, from different influencers and different people. So as people start writing about points, we vote on them. That's what we did with Community Casino. When people write about Community Casino, we vote on it with the Beyond Bits. Kind of reward them. And we do that. I do that with with the Beat Battle too, with the Whale Shares. And some when I buy some stuff too, I vote on the people's entries. So the Beyond Bit definitely really helped in a lot of different ways. But I think I talked too much. I don't really like talking that much, so I would just like to answer any questions.
I have a few, but before I start, does anybody else have any? Please feel free to do so if you have them. Okay, one of the questions that I would have is, for the people that you're getting on board, do you have links that you can provide for them?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I know 3 of them, I think 2 or 3 have been posting, and 3 of them are in that waiting process. They've got confirmed. And then a couple 2, yeah. So yeah, I can definitely give you all the links and all the information for sure.
Okay, so you actually have them posting to Steemit at present.
Yeah, the travel man, my friend Grizzle, he traveled to Oregon, the only city that got 100% totality from the solar eclipse, and he just started posting about that. But he's big in the music community, travel community. He runs a club, and he books a lot of shows. He knows a lot of people in the music industry, like big people, big people. He's our good friends. He's Miley Cyrus and stuff like that. So I can definitely, they're getting on.
Well, onboarding large networks of people who have communities outside of Steem, and outside of BitShares for that matter, or any of these other chains. People who are not into crypto, when we teach them about how we can use these tools to empower them in the things that they care about, it's a very powerful instrument for teaching. In addition to everything else, because the lessons they learn, now they use their resources and their networks to help propagate. I'm very interested in whether you could bring them on to talk about their partnerships with you and the communities that they bring on board. Would you be interested
Yeah, and to be I hate that I said to be honest with you, but I actually sent the link to 3 or 4 people for this Whaletank. So I don't know. I don't think I see them, but I gave them to them last minute. But they're all people that want to be involved in this every week. And I told them the day was Saturday, and they got really excited because some people work for other jobs, but other people work full time in their dreams. And Saturday, for whatever reason, it's a good time. So.
I think of it as the days that you can normally, you get up a little bit late and you watch the Cartoon Network. But I don't watch the Cartoon Network anymore, but that's kind of like the Saturday everybody just kind of lounges around a little bit in the morning. So I'm very much looking forward to how many people will be able to join who, like you said, have day jobs. Now, with that said, does anybody else have any questions or comments? We have about 3 minutes and 45 seconds. I do have some others, but I don't have to dig into them all right now.
I think Steve Pop has asked what the ExxonMobil connection was. A friend, when I was a senior in high school, this girl was a freshman. She really liked me, and she actually graduated. She was an all-states gymnast. Went to University of Penn, got recruited to work at ExxonMobil, and got put in charge of their rewards program. And they came out with across a lot of different brand rewards program, like 50 different stores around it, like Kroger, everything. She was one of the people in charge of that, and she told me about it before it became public, and I could have traded on that, but that would have been illegal, and obviously I don't care about that shit. But she's still in that position, so she's actually gone bigger. So she's had responsibility in ExxonMobil for the rewards program. So obviously with cryptocurrency and people getting big, what better way? And that benefit that having points being share job could pay for the rewards program. So they really have no reason not to do it. So we just started that this week. The other 2 got back fast because we closed them on the phone. But the other one, we're probably going to go into Virginia and close it in person.
He says
correct. Yeah. So it would be given on all the gas stations, everything. Yeah, exactly. They would just take, instead of the points they give out now that they redeem, it would just be cryptocurrency. And you can still redeem it for stuff in their store. But they're going to set up. They would set up their own. Yeah, it would handle all the crypto. So it would be ExxonMobil is one of the biggest companies in the world. So that's pretty good.
I mean, if you think about it, if you tie something called points, and you back it by the loyalty programs of multiple different companies, and you almost have if you guys remember whenever you were growing up, they would pass out little catalogs for you to go around to your allotment and sell to people. Can you buy something out of for wrapping paper or different things that go to the school, and you get bonus points and for everything you sell, and then you can get some stupid little toy. It's probably not worth nearly as much as the work that you put in, but it's still kind of is that kind of the same system? Now I have loyalty points, and I could use them in any of the associated stores, maybe on one site or in another business for something else.
Yeah, exactly. And just like you said, schools are going to be one involved too. That's going to be one next thing we're going to. But it helps us actually. What she was saying is with transactions too, because they don't know how to peg their own rewards points because they're not traded anywhere. So having something that's already traded something makes transactions easier, makes their taxes easier, and also they'll maybe even make money off their own reward program. I mean, they already are, but it'd be self-sustaining. Is what I'm saying.
That's great, man. I really do like what you're doing with the point system, because this is a great example of where value propositions can be brought in from elsewhere, from outside and from partnerships. Thalia, did you have anything to say? There's about 30 seconds left. Okay, I just saw those lips.
But one quick thing, the community casino, that's one nice thing about having an online program, or a casino and eventually physical, is that points will be the cryptocurrency that they get paid out. Because the problem with SPL right now is they have all these points that they get to enter these contests, but they're not worth anything. So not only will the points you get for the rewards program, we can actually just pay out the chips in points. And those people can just cash it out. Well, they have Bitcoin machines. We can obviously have a points machine. And actually, one of my friends is never mind, is big up in the ATM industry. It's a great idea. Thanks for saying that. But yeah, that's about it. We're trying to really help a lot of people with this and introduce cryptocurrency to a lot of people, because people still don't know about it. So what better way than something called points that they already get for anyways. So that's what we're going for.
Well,
so who's
well, unfortunately, guys, we're at 15 minutes, and since points do not exist actually yet on the BitShares decks,
I wish it did already, but you got to be patient.
if you need help, I can help you.
Thank you.
If you need it. But I will say thank you for everything. Thank you for everything you're doing. I know that there's a lot of work and there's a lot of other stuff that kind of, makes it hard for us to progress sometimes. But I look forward to hearing from all of the people who are breaking down barriers and climbing over them and, adapting to the situations and working together to fix everything. So you guys are doing some amazing things, and I would love to hear more from the people who are helping you out over there, Chief. So please feel free to continue bringing them on so we can know a little bit more about them and learn how they're wanting to work with points.
Yeah, I feel is this the best place to do it, or should I have them come like just to listen during this part and then have them talk in the hangout? Because some of them don't have all like they have time, but like, so would you recommend me having for the first time come during the hangout or to listen and then try to come, or which part do you think like they should come to first? Is what I'm trying to say.
I would say the hangout is upwards of 3 hours sometimes, so I would say maximize it at like 3 hours. But it really is something that they can listen to anytime because we have the recordings of them. Of course, they can join up live, or they could just join the after party. It doesn't really matter. The after party is more for networking anyway. So it's really up to them.
Gotcha. And thanks for saying that. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I could just listen to the recordings. Yeah. So thanks for that.
Yep. Well, of course, man. And we do have people who help with that stuff. We're starting to build a little bit more of a grassroots crew that helps me do that stuff, so I can kind of take that off my plate and start focusing on some other things. So I do appreciate everybody who's helping with that. I want to really quickly give a shout out to Steam Power Picks, who helps edit a lot of the content. Even edits out my ums and ahs, which is very time consuming. I've done it before, and resources and manpower required to do that stuff does take hours. So that's why you get paid, man. I greatly appreciate you just stepping up and doing it. I saw you doing it, so I'm paying you. And anybody who's writing articles about the things that are going on here at these hangouts and promoting those projects or the hangouts themselves, please feel free to reach out to me at beyondbitcoin@gmail.com, and I will send some tokens to your BTS address if it's good quality content. Now, with that said, we'll go ahead and we will move on to Sir Lunch, who's going to be talking about the blockchain documentary. And I will go ahead and say, Sir Lunch, feel free to step up. I will step back.
Yo, what's up, man? Just drinking some coffee here. How's everybody doing this morning? I'm gonna open up some silent space so you guys can say how you're doing.
Coffee.
My name
They're
is
not
Sir
all
Lunch,
drinking
the
coffee,
host,
man.
right? My name is Sir Lunch, the host, and I'm shooting a movie. Not just any kind of movie, but a documentary of great proportions. Well, at least I hope. Basically, the documentary, this portion of the documentary, which will be broken down into a web series, is about the successes and failures of people on Steeming. I recently traveled out, well, not just me, but me and two other Steemians by the name of Ron Donson and Mackenzie Gary flew out to Las Vegas, which was very, very awesome. And we had the chance to see virtual growth in person, which is even more awesome. And we had the opportunity to interview him, which would last about 2 hours, which will be showing soon, I hope. We plan on going to see Papa Pepper in about 3 weeks. So Papa Pep, Gifted Gaia, and Instructor 2121. They're all going to be part of the movie. And we are also having a side fund for anyone else who reaches out to us and says, hey, come see me. Because we want to get as many people in this documentary as possible to tell their story. And whether it be good or bad, we just want to tell the story. I'll never replace my fire alarm battery. I mean, maybe one day when I'm not lazy. Now, the reason why I'm shooting this movie documentary is because I feel like no one is properly documenting the stories on Steemit. Right, there's a lot of successes out there, and there's a lot of failures, of course, but there's just a lot of information to be had and documented, so people that come after us when the blockchain and Steam is a lot more popular can look back and reference and learn some things from, and they don't just have to read posts all the time and things like that. I'm going to open it up to questions, and if not, I'm going to let my beautiful voice continue talking.
Smoke
Great.
detectors. Wow, how we know it's you.
Yeah, that smoke detector is how you know it's me. Now, if shooting the documentary was what anyone thought it was all about, well, it goes much deeper. I actually, when I go out and do these things, I help people that I encounter. So, for example, when I was in Vegas, before I even met Virtual Growth, I encountered a few homeless people, and I decided that I was going to get them on video. We're going to have intelligent conversations, which is all on the blockchain, of course. And after that little meeting, I gave them some money, and gave them the link to the Steemit website, and told them if they ever, are able to get a functioning machine that can get them on it, they should sign up, and yada 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 yada. I also know a couple Steemians who have not been fortunate as some of us have been, and have not been earning as much as they thought they would. And so I'm also starting a fund that when I do meet Steemians who have had failures on Steemit, and just the ones that I know that were dedicated and just maybe just didn't work out for them, I'm actually going around and giving them money to help start up projects that they couldn't really start up themselves. So not only am I traveling to places, for the people who didn't get to see the successes, I'm actually funding projects that they would like to see the light, and I'm going to be talking to them in person and trying to help them facilitate all those things. And I'm also traveling out to some people to help them vlogs, because if anyone noticed, I do kind of good on my vlogs. So I want to get everyone in position to where they can vlogs, because I believe there should be a new wave of vloggers, which is not like YouTube, but they're called crypto vloggers. People who live from crypto, live off of crypto, trade crypto, and they vlog about it and how that is incorporated with their daily life and how they live different, because a vlogger who trades and deals with crypto is completely different from a vlogger who deals with fiat currency. I will now open up the mic for questions or comments.
What types of things are you going to be focusing on in particular? Just stories of Steemit and the successes that you see portrayed in the Steemit community, or when you say Bitcoin, when you say cryptocurrency documentary, what types of things you're going to focus on?
1 second, let me light up another cigarette. This is going to get deep, by the way.
I also have another question after that.
All right, so I'll wrap his question up really quickly. So basically, it's not just about Steemit. It goes much deeper. I have audio from a few white hat hackers and gray hat hackers about other things. I have audio and video from different people from BlockCons, hackathons, and the documentary is going to cover much more than Steemit, because I've been invited to a lot of different events. So I'll be going to hackathons and a lot of BlockCons in and out of the US and documenting hackers, what their life is like. So the documentary is not just going to be solely about Steemit. It's going to start off that way because, this is the community and, the platform that I love. But it really just branches out to anything crypto, anyone who loves crypto, people getting into crypto, things surrounding crypto. And sometimes it might not have to do anything with crypto, because life isn't always about crypto, right? So it's going to encompass a lot of things, but some of the main things I'll focus on at the beginning will be Steemit, cryptocurrency, different cryptocurrencies, hackers, the politics of the blockchain, which I don't know if a lot of us are aware of. But there's a lot of politics that go on the blockchain that we don't know. So I'm going to be focusing on that. And yeah, I'm going to open it up to questions or comments.
Thank you.
Is that you referring to blockchain politicians?
Yeah, I can't go too much into that, but just pretty much just if anyone who knows something that knows something knows that when I say that comment, it actually holds some weight. So yeah.
Well, it's a very interesting thing, and it's something that during the process of self-governance, one of the things that we've always talked about here is trying to enable people to have a voice and talk about their projects. And that's one of the things that I think is valuable about this project is giving people a voice to talk about things. So with that said, when you're talking about vlogging on, on fiat, essentially, think about all the platforms where you earn fiat currencies for blogging or vlogging. And pretty much all of them are controlled by a few people who are quote unquote, well, not censoring things, but censoring things. And that to me is one reason why I see the value of what you're doing and trying to tell people, hey, cryptocurrencies can enable you to kind of bypass the YouTubes saying, hey, buddy, you can't make as much money because you are offensive, things like that. You can kind of bypass that when somebody can pay you in your own cryptocurrency or another cryptocurrency that's part of a community that you care about. I look forward to hearing more about it. And do you have any updates as far as who the next person is going to be and how people can reach out to you if they want to be interviewed for the documentary, or if they have any projects that they want covered?
Nicotine's man's best friend. Yes, actually,
That's arguable.
after well, it's nicotine in a dog, I suppose. But as soon as I had uploaded my vlog behind the scenes about the documentary, Papa Pepper, I know you guys all know that guy. He reached out to me and said, hey, I want you to come to me next. I was going to go see Instructor 21, but Papa Pepper is very excited. So sorry, Instructor 21. Probably see you well. I'm over there. He's actually going to give me his Steam It chain. I don't know if anyone knows, but he always wears a Steam It chain. So he's going to give me that. I'm also going to do kind of a triple whammy. I'm also going to go see Gifted Gaia, and again, try to squeeze in Instructor 2121, and even try to go see Compound Films and Mr. Wang while I'm kind of in that general area. And another thing I want to point out is that I'm not just trying to do this on my own. All right, so for instance, Mackenzie Gary and Ron Thompson, the people that run with me right now, I was able to pull enough funding to pay for them to fly to Vegas and stuff like that. And I say that because I want to give other Steamians who don't have the opportunity to travel, or who wouldn't normally have the opportunity to go talk to other Steamians and go around and do this, the opportunity to do so. Which is why I usually push for such big funding calls, is because I'm not just doing this for myself, I'm doing this for other Steamians. So if you also reach out to me and say, hey, I actually want to be a part of this, not just maybe over the internet, but I actually want to travel with you. If we have the open dialogue, I have no problem with bringing new Steamians onto the project so they can get involved. And new Steamians who do get involved and Steamians who do come with me, I will teach them how to vlog, things like that if they don't already how to, and they can actually get a double benefit. One, they could be working on the movie with me, and then on the side, they could be earning some income while posting their travel vlogs. And it's just things like that. So I can also empower other people, because I don't want to be the only person documenting, because I've also realized that my perspective and my viewpoint isn't always going to be the best one. So I want to put a lot of other cryptocurrency directors and vloggers in place to tell the story that I'm telling, so we can all tell a nice cohesive story together. Also, I'm looking for an editing team, but I'm not just looking for like an over the internet editing team, right? I'm looking for an editing team that's willing to meet up in person, and a team that's I'm getting a studio. So I'm looking for a team who's willing to come and work at the studio and things of that nature, because I want to take cryptocurrency vlogging and movie making to the next level. I'm gonna be like these YouTubers. The quality's gonna be like YouTube. I know how these YouTubers run, and I know why they're successful. And I know that because the blockchain is not a ad-based thing like how YouTube is, the money will come better and easier. With that being said, I will open up to questions and comments.
Quick
I
question.
just have.
Quick question. I was wondering how you plan on distributing this.
Okay, well, that's a
be
big question for 30 seconds. So, unfortunately, let me just.
Oh,
I hate to interrupt you.
well, no,
There's
it's
not.
10 seconds. It'll be free.
Oh, good.
It'll be on the blockchain. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Vivo. It'll be on wherever you can watch videos. It's going to be free for everyone to watch.
Cool.
Studio
Thanks.
Cool.
Okay, sorry guys. This is the 15 minutes is almost up. I will just quickly say, how are you planning on using Beyond Bits to help you on this process?
So I use some Beyond Bits to get me on the trending page, of course. But well, not on the trending page, on the hot page. But I usually use my Beyond Bits, and you can check in my history in my wallet to pay the people that are helping me on my project by upvoting their post, and upvoting the posts that are geared towards the documentary and things of that nature. So it's a mixture between my own and giving it to the people who are helping me, because that's another. I accept all currencies and I pay my team in all currencies, because all currencies what we can use, right? So that's how they're used, to pay people and to fund the project.
Well, thank you very much. And how do people reach out to you if they're interested in this?
You can find me on Discord, Sir Lunch the host. Just message me on one of my posts. I'll find it and we'll get in contact that way, or steam.chat. If I'm really cool with you, just hit me up. I'll give you my phone number. And what's up, Solomon?
Cool. Sounding good. Well, thank you very much for joining up today, and thank you to anybody who helps him along the way. If you resonate with one of these projects, if you think that you could help them in some way, shape, or form, please consider the various value propositions that you uniquely offer. As always, we try to say and remind people that money, aka money, is not the only value proposition that you can bring. A lot of the time, your networks, the connections, and other various skills that you've earned along the way are very valuable to these projects. So consider how you can leverage all of those value propositions to help the projects that join up here, and also help yourself. Synergy is the name of the game. So with that said, thank you, Sir Lunch, for adding to the synergy with your blockchain documentary and all the other things that you have going, because I know you're stirring other pots. And we look forward to hearing more in the future, man.
Thank you, West Coast.
West Coast. Bam Bam 809 is up next, and he's going to be talking a little bit about Steam It's Got Talent. And I will be stepping back.
How's it going, everybody? It's Bam Bam 808 actually, but I'll let it slide, you know. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfectly.
Awesome. So yeah, Talent is in week 5 right now, about more or less a completely open talent competition. I know there's, I've been on for a while, kind of silently on Steemit, and just recently got very active. But I've seen, the open mic contest and contests like that. I know Chief Mapster is doing the beat contest. But there is not, at least that I have seen, a completely open network. You think you can stack 50 spoons on your body? Go for it. Kind of an open, completely open contest. As far as its first few weeks, it's gained quite a bit of momentum. Of course, I do have some sponsors. Shout out to Fuzzy and Walrus and Acrid and the whole Whale Shares community. But I originally kind of wanted it to start to be a place where anybody can come and kind of, portray and show their talent, whether it's, a talent that people consider a quote unquote talent, or something that's just weird and goofy and kind of fun for people to get out and try. And if anybody has been following, you can see it's kind of catching that niche market of people who don't take their quote unquote talent as seriously as others and kind of enter it. I've had anything from acro yoga to drawing to singing to didgeridoo up in a tree to teaching people how to make wooden stoves in the wild, kind of a thing. So it's really, I think, opened up kind of the ideology of a talent per se. But I've also, since then, only the first episode has come out, but I've created kind of it's called Steam Has Got Talent, Wacky, Tacky, and Wild, and it kind of uses some of the entries from the talent competition for kind of a humorous show. I'm, of course, not totally bagging and making fun of anybody, but kind of just America's funniest videos type. Funny sounds going on and everything like that, and those people as well get compensated for their show being shown. So I think that's kind of a dual, it's almost like an extension of the contest. People can either apply to the contest and enter to actually win the prizes, or they can get on to and just do something really funny that they know is going to be used in the series, and get compensated that way. Currently, my compensation is through using whale shares, which I have found is beneficial, as Chief Mapster was saying, for multiple different reasons. But mainly, I think is the main thing is marketing out, and people know the whale shares community, and it definitely gets a lot of views and has people coming through. I think it's averaging about 250 views per week. And then on top of that, sorry, I'm kind of one run-on sentence here, but on top of the Steam It's Got Talent, for the first 10 weeks, we're almost are done with the 5th week. Every week, the first place winner has actually been collected, and I've actually told them about it and put out posts that they have actually qualified for what I'm calling Steam It's Got Talent, the eliminations, which after 10 weeks, I will take the 10 first place winners from those 10 weeks, and they'll face off head to head for the next 5 weeks until we've crowned the Steam It's Got Talent season champion. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I will open the floor up for questions. I look forward to it.
Are you going to have weekly episodes?
Weekly episodes of the kind of the comedy show, or?
Yeah, the Wacky, Tacky, and Wild.
Yes, that's the plan ultimately down the road. It's kind of a plan in motion. I've got, as I said, the first one out, but it's also dependent on how many people apply to the Steam It's Got Talent. So as Steam It's Got Talent, the competition grows, I see that show growing as well. I think ideally I'd want to put out at least 1 to 2 episodes per week for each week. Of course, I am behind. I just dropped week 1 of the comedy show, and we're on almost week 6 of the talent show. So there's a little bit of catch up, but it does. So far, I've had great reviews, and from the people who have watched it, said it's really funny and everything like that.
So, of all the Steam It's Got Talent that you do, how many members do you think are actively working with you guys?
As far as entering the competition or working in the back end, doing the managerial type?
The managerial stuff, like the overhead to run it.
I am currently basically the only one. I do all the groundwork. I do all the posting. I do have, like I said, Whale Share sponsoring me. Shout out to all of you guys. And I do have Adzachly, who I somewhat work with, but he's kind of hard to get a hold of. So, but as far as the people actually making the posts, that's pretty much me. Of course, I reach out and ask for opinions from quite a few people, but I take all those with a grain of salt and approach it in a way that I think will benefit Steemit and the competition itself the most.
Can you tell me just really quickly your thoughts on whether it helped or harmed to have delegated power taken away from the tokens?
You mean using whale shares as tokens? Is that kind of what you mean?
Approximately, about a month and a half ago, half of the Steam Power delegation was taken away from Whale Shares. Do you feel like that is harmed, or do you guys feel like it's been kind of resilient community to that effect?
I mean, it is a fairly resilient community, and you'll have the people who just kind of apply 1 week and don't apply again. But there's also, I have, I'd say between 3 to 5, maybe 7 people who consistently since week 1 have been coming back and back. So I'm starting to gain quite a down community, I would say, that's really, loving what is going on here at the Steam It's Got Talent headquarters. But with that said, I think when I got Whale Shares was right after that, so I didn't see before how much,
Okay.
So I have noticed, it is a little bit different, but everybody that I've talked to has been loving the Whale Shares idea, loving the payouts. I mean, I've been kind of doing the best I can to. I've had new Steamians who didn't know how to use Open Ledger and kind of lost some of their tokens and whatnot. So I've done as much as I can do to recompensate them.
And it's also, would you say that it's fair to say that these tokens kind of help people learn how to use BitShares along the way in a safe way before they start really dealing with something that's worth a ridiculous amount, like maybe like buying into a bunch of BitShares?
Yes, definitely. I mean, most of the people I've had, which is why on my contest and every post I put out, I have the compiled, Whale Shares post that I'm not sure somebody had done quite a bit ago, but that thing is completely filled to the brim with all the information you could need. A lot of the people who enter my contest don't have Open Ledger, don't know how to use it, so they're able to just learn how to, and like you said, on a small scale, not necessarily dealing with pennies, but not dealing with thousands of dollars and, that kind of a thing. So I think it's a great intro, like you said, into learning around Open Shares and, Open Ledger and BitShares, especially the wallet, because that can be a little confusing for people.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we kind of like what we're doing, and it's cool to see that there are people who, like you, who are joining up, who actually are monitoring and organizing these community events. Approximately how many of the tokens that you receive would you say are paid out to during the events, as far as like the percentage?
I try and do between, I'd say 55, and sometimes it's, a little variation, but I try and do at least, minimum 50%.
That sounds like that sounds about fair in my mind. That's around the mark that I had been talking about behind the scenes a little bit. Like if you keep 50% of the tokens for yourself. Now, out of curiosity, how many of those tokens do you use per week?
For personal or for payout,
Just
I tend to use.
If you're going about 50% for each.
I mean, the payouts, of course, are on every Tuesday. But I try and, keep an eye on whaleshares.net and other sites that I can get kind of the voting power range for the Whale Shares, because I don't want to use 100 of them or 50 of them when it's down, at 40% voting power. So it kind of depends on where the voting power is before I use them, because, the Whale Shares aren't free for you guys. They're not free for me. It's one of those things. I want to use them to their most, exactly, maximize their capability.
So you would say it's hard to kind of pinpoint an average for a week of how many you use?
I mean, I use about 250 for payouts, and then I'll use probably 150 throughout the rest of the week, and then when I collect the new week's payment, I might use the rest of the old 100 that I have left, kind of a thing. I try and always keep a balance. That's for sure.
So it's about 500 Whale Shares, though.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, man. Is there anything that anybody has as far as questions or comments?
Yes,
I obviously have plenty.
yeah, I can give you more insight about the delegation cut thing at a later date, but or a little later, but Bam Bam, who is the host of the first episode of the Wacky Tacky and Wild that you did, and will she be the regular host, and is she on Steam It?
She is on Steam It. It is Brandy BB at Brandy BB, and currently she is going to do the rest of the episodes. Chief Mapster, she is not.
No, that's what Crid wanted. He that's what he wanted to say, but he didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
I
No, that's
already knew who it was, but I think that
I'm just messing around, buddy.
not good to point out who's involved. Because I didn't hear her listed when Fuzzy asked who your members were.
Yeah, I blanked that one. I mean, I've asked for opinions and whatnot from a lot of people, but yes, she will be consistently the host. We might have kind of guest hosts that have come in for a special, episode or whatnot, but she will be the main host. I mean, I kind of reach out for opinions from anybody who gives them. I have spoke with, Acrid, of course, and Sir Lunch, and there's a few people in here that I have, talked to and that kind of a thing. Apple Crisp as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be something great. Sorry, I'm kind of just trailing on here.
Now, I would like to see actually people like you guys and Sir Lunch and them all have your own. We have a Beyond Bitcoin Twitch channel that's being set up actually by Steam Power Picks. And he's been doing a lot of editing and stuff. So maybe we can leverage all of them and leverage the Beyond Bitcoin platform that we have to help you guys provide kind of what you guys are doing. Now, really quickly, the question that I would like to ask before we finish off this segment would be, and it's probably a pretty simple question for you, but how would you use Beyond Bits to help this project?
I would use Beyond Bits in a similar fashion that I would use Whale Shares. I think, like Chief Mapster said, it's a huge thing, what you've done with Whale Shares and Beyond Bits, and just the community that you've grown. So I think it's a huge marketing point. Having something and someone, like yourself and Beyond Bitcoin or Whale Shares backing it. Especially, I hate to bring up the whole Ned fiasco. I think you guys powered through that and now are on the other end of that and have gained a huge amount of respect from a lot of people on the platform. So I think it's a huge marketing point, as well as, the payouts are awesome, and the, using them to upvote. My main thing that I notice with my weekly competitions is that if I can use either Beyond Bit or Whale Shares to upvote it into trending within, the first few minutes of it being on, I notice a huge, boost in the amount of comments, views, everything like that. So I try to use mine as a huge marketing point, and kind of, jump it out there onto the hot page type of a scenario. And then in the future, as I said, I've been on for about a year, but I haven't been active, only about a month and a half. I will be, those payouts don't just go directly to me, all of them. I try and use some of them to fund back end things that I need to get done. Whether it's the logos that I've had created, we've put on contests for logos. Walrus actually was a huge help. JP Henderson put out a logo contest for this, company, contest, brand, whatever you want to call it. One other thing that I want to say really quickly is that although I have founded and I still currently manage Steam It's Got Talent, I've actually within the last few days created a Steam It's Got Talent account page, because my brainchild it's growing up and it needs to move out of the house. So I'll be posting that down below, but I'm in the process of trying to kind of transfer the followers from my Bam Bam 808 over to this Steam It's Got Talent. just to kind of free up, and it a lot better, I think, as a brand to see, oh, Steam It's Got Talent has its own account rather than, oh, it's pushed out by some person,
Agreed. I would love to talk to you guys a little bit more about some of this stuff in the after party. But for right now, how do people reach out to you if they would like to contact you?
I am on Discord at BamBam808, of course. I have of course, you can comment on any of the posts. I'm actively on Steemit, checking my replies and comments and whatnot. But otherwise, I have an actual Steemit Got Talent email.
Really
it's 1 second. I will post it.
If you have a whale that you think might be a good community builder that would help with the Whaletank and be a great member of the Whale Council, I am very interested in taking some time to work with some people to maybe invite a few of them and create whale tokens to give out. So please let me know. Bear Mike, I love you, man, but I have no clue what you said, but I think I know what you're talking about. And yes, you will be on that list. We'll talk about that.
No, what is the criteria to determine the will?
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you busting a beat in the background.
Oh, all right. But can you hear me clearly, or do I need to transfer around?
Sounds clear. We hear you well, but I wouldn't apply the music in the background.
Give me a sec. I was having my third bottle of beer on the bar, so while listening to you all guys.
Hey, Fuzz, can you hear me better now? I had to switch microphones.
Oh, much better.
I was asking, what's the definition of a whale in terms of steam power now? So when you say whale, how much steam power do you need to have for that?
Well, right now, until we have the whale trails, I'm looking at 50K or above, and we want to ask for 2% of those tokens so we can upvote the updates and stuff like that, because we're going to have a statistics post every week or so, and we're going to upvote that with all the different accounts to show it with the tokens and kind of represent the entire community, show various statistics, and maybe iterate on that over time, and that'll also pay out to the developers who are working on it. But 50K is what I would look at as being something that we can work with at least until Whale Trails comes. Then maybe 50K based on the steam power that's backing a Whale Trail coin.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it was just a general question, not in terms of whale shares, but just overall. You hear the term whale thrown around so much. I was just wondering what was the standard definition?
Yeah, I would call 50K like a baby beluga.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. You know what I mean? A baby beluga. One of the cutest things in the world.
Is this fine with you?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
well.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi everyone. Hope you're doing a great day. I'm from Steam PH. Steam PH is the community based in the Philippines. And we've got this new exciting project that we've been working on just few weeks from this month. So what we are doing is basically mutually cohabiting decent files on Steemit Post. So we've got a huge pool of talented people in the Philippines and who's already active on Steemit, posting articles, good quality contents, blogs, and we wanted to do it. We wanted to step up a bit and use the incentives and the monetization system of Steemit to also build up videos, music, softwares, and digital contents. And once when Decent blockchain was introduced last month, end of last month, we saw an opportunity to actually use that platform and merge it with Steemit. So at the moment, when we want to post videos or we want to promote artworks, we post it in Steemit Post, but with external links. So what we thought of doing is instead of extracting or instead of hosting those artworks or instead of hosting those digital contents, we want to publish it on a decent blockchain, which is also the same algorithm with Steemit, which is based on graphene software. And what we wanted to do is we want to benefit both creators and consumers by deploying this digital content on the Decent blockchain, and then incentivize both creators and consumers who consumes this digital contents. So as of now, we're just expanding and we're inspiring. We're growing our community to basically introduce these two platforms that we can integrate into one. So yeah, as I said, this is a work in progress, and we're on the early stages of this project. Currently, I'm working on TJ Pislo, who's been active on Steemit and who's been promoting this project and also building up the community of Steam PH as well. Yeah, so if any one of you guys have questions, feel free to ask them.
So you're using. So you're using Descent as another platform where you actually hold the content, and then you're also posting it to Steemit. Is that how it's working?
Yes, that's what we're envisioning it to be. Hosting the files, digital contents on the Decent blockchain, and then posting it on Steemit. But while hosting it on Decent platform, we aim to so let's say if I post it on Steemit, if I post a digital content on Steemit, every upvote or every incentives that you get from that post will also be shared with the contents on the Decent blockchain.
Oh, so is it going to be like? Is it going to be something where you have a tool where it allows you to do this like easily, or is it something that you guys are just going to do manually, like as a team, or how does that work?
We're building on integrating both chains. So at the moment, we are looking at. I'm talking to the developers of the decent blockchain if there's a possibility of doing it. But the fallback for this will be the one that you just said. We will be doing it manually. But the future vision for this project is to have a mechanism wherein you can do it automatically, upload your stuff on the decent platform, and then you can even readily post it on Steemit. So we are on the works of building that mechanism, integrating both platforms.
CM Steam is asking a question here. He's asking, last time I checked, it was very expensive to store multimedia on Descent. Will it cost money to mirror Steam content to Descent?
Well, there has been, to be honest, the Descent platform is still a work in progress. I mean, people who are seeding, this is based on IPFS, by the way, interplanetary file system. So people who are seeding files can determine how much per megabyte they are willing to host those files. So it would depend on the seeders. At the moment, they are actually building on the seeders community, so that the more seeders that they'll have, the more the cheaper the price it will be. The last time I checked, the cheapest ones are, you get 10 something satoshis for 1 megabyte of data stored in the platform for a whole month. So some of them as well are doing free hosting, and yeah, it depends on the seeders, and it depends on the adapters of the platform. So if the platform, this project will actually have that vision of building on the community of Steemit and also building the community of Decent platform, supporting both the seeders of the publishers of the files and also the creators of the files. And compare to the current AWS or Google or YouTube, compared to the hosting, to these hosting platforms, the Decent is fairly cheaper from compared to these hosting sites.
And really quickly, one of the questions that I really like to ask the people who are joining up to these hangouts, how do you see Beyond Bits helping you, and how do you plan to use them?
At this early stage, we want to get as much promotion, as much audience that we want to reach, and so the platform, so the project itself will get traction by the time we implement, or by the time we finish on the beta application for this. And also we want to encourage and inspire our own community that these things are possible. So they'll be it's also a tool for us to inform the community that these are the projects that we're building on. And then in order for us to do that, we have to whale shares could help us promote this stuff on Steemit. And also to be honest, the development for this for now, we're doing it on our own packets. So the money that we will be generating from this will support the development of this project as well.
We're gonna have to talk a little bit deeper about this offline, because there's a lot to this. But I really love the idea of creating synergy between chains. This is really going back to the almost kind of like the merged blogging idea, right? Where you have various different communities that you can earn on, and they compete against platforms like YouTube using these tools that we have called cryptocurrencies, right? We add our own economic layer, essentially. And what you're doing is you're talking about working with them already. That's something that we have been talking about in some of our private discussions about leveraging these other chains. So I would love to talk to you, and I would love to consider helping fund some of this. Now, out of curiosity, what do you think it would take to fund it? Have you looked into any of that? Oh, hold on a second. I need to unmute you.
The business sides and economic side of it, we haven't really sit down and pin down the details of this. As I've said, this is the early stage of this project, and we will have a discussion of this with the core group of STEAM Philippines, and yeah, so we haven't pinned down the details for this project in terms of the economics and in terms of the roadmap. Well, the roadmap is clear, but in terms of the funding, the details of each phase of this project is not yet in paper.
If anybody has any questions, now is the time to feel free to do so. We have a few minutes left over for that. Steam PowerPix asks here, Precise, you are part of connecting Steam PH group with Descent and Steemit.
We had a very in-depth discussion with this together with a friend, TJ Pislo, who's not here. We are not like we have a very quite a number of Steemit in the Philippines, Steemit users in the Philippines, and we don't want them to switch to another blockchain and then compete with Steemit. So we thought of this project that to merge both. These projects have both good ideas, and we will just nitpick on them and then integrate them and then capitalize on what's good and what's good on each chain. So that's what we're doing. We're merging both blockchain and then for the for betterment, I guess.
CM, is that question for CM? Is that question for him?
Oh, yeah. To answer CM, Mob, how come Descent doesn't market its use of graphene more? I think I've been talking to the developers of the Descent. I guess it's because they're doing projects as well that they don't want to spoil what they're doing, and I guess they're also in the works of maybe the NDAs of the Descent have prevented them to sort of market this kind of use.
It would be very interesting to me because from my perspective, you would want different people using graphene to be kind of talking together and forming, a group of people who kind of are experts in their own spheres of graphene. And that's really one of the places where I wanted to take this stuff and where Beyond Bitcoin is meant to go. Quite literally, because delegated proof of stake can take us beyond Bitcoin. It can actually be used in a way that helps us leap by leaps and bounds to create these things called DACs and DApps and DAOs, which are just all pretty much very similar in terms of the constructs to help communities and empower them using the blockchain in their own, some economic use cases, some not. So I would say that I'm very interested to see a little bit more about the synergy, and I would love to talk to you behind the scenes, but I would really love also to hear a little bit more about how much it would cost to work together. Now, I'm not against competition or any of that stuff. I'm really in a place where I think we can form synergies between many chains. So call it collaborative competition, like Dan Robles likes to say. It's something that we can look at, and I'm very interested in seeing what happens with Descent. I really do wish that they would say stuff about using graphene, though. I mean, it helps people more than hurts them.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think it's because of the political aspects of this, and it's quite saddening to say the least, because it prevents us to be more creative and more productive in terms of development. So, but it's how they do things. I mean, Steemit cannot market Descent as the same way as Descent cannot market Steemit, but I think there's that opportunity that we can do to have them, as you say, collaborate not in a competitive way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, since we are at a point where the 15-minute mark has been reached, I will quickly just remind everybody that there is the ability, if you have a token that is traded on the BitShares DEX for your project or whatever you're doing, we are willing to give you extra time in these Hangouts if you leverage those to share drop on the guest list of the people who join these Hangouts. So please consider the opportunity to make your own tokens and bring your own value propositions to them over time and distribute them to some people who actually might be interested in doing something with them and using them to bring and imbue value into them. Sharing is caring, and getting people on board and owning some of your tokens is a valuable way of building things and creating the synergy that humans can create, and what we want to really cover here. So I appreciate you bringing everything up precise. And we'll go ahead and we'll move on to Nutella. And he will be talking about his conversation over the phone. Feel free, Nutella, to step up and speak if you would like to speak.
Actually, so it's going to be me, Apple Crisp, that's speaking for Nutella. Yeah, he wasn't able to, he's traveling to Holland today, so.
No problem. I'll go ahead and step back, and thank you, Apple Crisp, for everything that you do. You actually helped quite a bit as well.
Yeah, sure, you're welcome. Happy to help out. Like, it definitely, like, you know, what we're sort of, what Nutella was doing initially too was like, we're just trying to help add value in any way that we can. So like, you know, like Nutella was looking at initially like doing, last week he was talking about doing transcribing and for like taking like our Hangouts, or let's say someone that does a video blog, and using YouTube and looking at all the other different services like the IBM Watson, and they also have this other service that's out in San Francisco called Pop-Up Archive. And so having like the machine or the computers do a little bit of the automatic transcription, and then see how much work it would need to get done in order to help clean things up. So it's definitely like another way to help add value to the content that's created. You know, so like for our Hangouts, you know, like we thought that having transcriptions of them would also be helpful, because it's good for if we do post them and then also post the transcript, like it makes it a lot easier to be like machine searchable by Google and things like that. So, you know, like one of our visions is like when anyone that is doing a blog or or vlog, their content would be more easily searchable, and then people find them when they're looking up a certain subject or something like that.
So they're trying to make it so it's easier to search content across platforms, or just on one?
Sorry, yeah, actually that was like initially Nutella's like idea for what the reason why he was doing some of this transcribing of transcribing of all of the audio content. But so his conversation with Dissent was looking, and he did talk a little bit about with the guy there about the graphene blockchain. And so the one good thing is that they're not unfortunately promoting being on graphene that much right now, but they are very open to having things be built on top of the platform. Some of the things that they're, I think, focusing on right now is they're trying to make a digital, work on the reputation system, as well as like a digital fingerprinting for digital assets.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so they're trying to do that, so it makes it easier for, through the reputation system, you're trusting who the author is, and then by also digitally fingerprinting the asset, just in case if it's not just on the Dissent blockchain, it's found somewhere else, then you would know that it's really from the right source. He did talk about with him, one of the things about Steemit is right now we just have that 7-day window for author rewards, and then I guess people like Alex had made a little Tapper Monkey script that I started using too. It'll tell you if there's still a comment by the author in order for you to be able to upvote, in order to be able to reward the author. But in Dissent is doing it a different way, because there's no limitation on the time for author rewards or the content creator when they put up stuff.
It would be very interesting to see. Is he trying to build this himself too, or because what I'm thinking right now, and I hate to let Precise's project bleed.
Oh yeah, actually, we wanted to talk together. Yeah, so feel free to .
And really quickly, one question that I do want to ask, and I would like to fit it in somewhere, whether it's toward the beginning or toward the end. But how would Beyond Bits help with this?
Actually, we didn't have that. I didn't have that discussion with Nutella, but I did notice that Nutella was using the Beyond Bits that he got to just using them sparingly at first. One of the, I guess we're still in the development stage of just helping utilize technology in order to help add value to different people's posts, or help add value to the searchability of audio content, video content. So we're still just using them sparingly, and then we do want to help encourage other people that are also working in the same area.
Do you know if there's an answer, or do you have an answer to CM Steam's question? He says here, though content is time limited as it costs decent fees to host for a long time, I would assume that as more and more content stacks up, and this is kind of where I'm thinking, coming from the standpoint of somebody who I use SoundCloud, for instance. Whenever we use SoundCloud, as we build up more and more content, hosting it will just become more and more expensive, almost like an exponential type of thing, right?
Yeah, then I guess
I'm just kind of curious about the economics of that, and I'd be interested to see what the response is, or what if if there's an answer right now.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't post that. I don't think he might not have asked that question. But yeah, it's definitely something that's because I guess there's hopefully like we were talking about before, doing merged, let's say, we could do maybe merged hosting, and it could maybe be on maybe different blockchains. So let's say if someone is looking at some content, maybe hopefully dynamically in the future, that we'll be able to say, okay, right now, like library is cheaper, and so we'll be able to host the content over there, and then versus there might be some other blockchains too, or some other future way for us to be able to sort of dynamically host stuff. So like one blockchain doesn't have to get bogged down by holding everything. Yeah.
That's kind of what we're looking at too, and I'm very interested to explore some of this stuff with you guys. The reason why I want to know about how the Beyond Bits would be used is because that's one of the things that we're focusing on a lot right now, is enabling many blockchains to kind of compete for the users from one place, and to enable community leaders and people who like to build communities and their helpers to establish their own kind of like their own little fiefdoms, I guess you might call them. I don't know what you call them, but they're democracies, whatever they want to choose, really. But enable them to have those platforms where they can kind of plug and play with the other blockchains and earn somewhere else. So I'm very interested in working with you guys on that. I don't really take the angle of competing with Steam or Descent or any of that. Like you were kind of saying, like leveraging all these blockchains is a value proposition you really can't lose on if you're helping your community with to provide what they need with the blockchains.
Yeah, and I think it definitely benefits all of us to work collaboratively together. And like all of the different blockchains are going to have different ways that they want to allocate the resources and computing power. And so like if it turns out that right now there's like a little bit of a downtime on one, hopefully that means the price will be cheaper, so then it'll be, if someone does want to use bandwidth or IPFS storage space, that we'll be able to utilize the cheapest option. And then that'll also help keep that blockchain moving as well, or like keep it in use. So I think it just benefits all of us.
So are you guys are you helping them, Apple Crisp?
No, so like I'm just helping Nutella right now, and we were just investigating other things. And so like one of his ideas was to talk to the Descent team to see sort of what their progress is, and like sort of how open they are to working jointly with other blockchains, or just what the type of things that they're building on top of their blockchain. And so I guess right now they seem to be very open to allowing developers to build on top of their blockchain. And then hopefully, I guess because it is new graphene, that some of our Steemit or Pure Plays or BitShares developers will be able to more easily build on top of theirs.
I will say for their benefit, to get the developers from our ecosystems interested in working on it, it would be very worth it for them to promote that they use graphene. Just something to relay to them, because it's almost like asking, can you build on our platform when we don't acknowledge that you guys were some of the first people that were the first ones to make it possible, right? You just don't do that. I don't know if that's their intent, but I want to make sure that they're aware that it can come across that way. So if they want developers, and I want developers to work with that stuff too, these projects too, then that might be something to look into. And another thing I'd be interested in, and I don't know exactly what you're doing as far as helping, I might actually want you to answer that too. Actually, why don't you answer that first, and then I'll go into my next question, if you don't mind.
Actually, we were just like investigating what the different blockchains that were doing, handling content, media content, were doing. So we're just like doing the investigation process right now. I'm not a programmer myself. I just do have ideas, and I do like to look at the broad spectrum of things and stuff like that. And so and then like in this instance, we're like sort of narrowing down to see exactly if they can, let's say, sort of do some of the things that sort of the Steemit blockchain is sort of limited to. Can we help expand out because it is luckily a graphene blockchain also, and their the author rewards are slightly different. So just like perhaps utilizing that that hopefully easier way to collaborate with that blockchain, because it's similar to our blockchain.
Yeah, I think that using these different blockchains, whenever they're based on the same consensus, then it can make it easier. I'm not sure as far as all the details with the languages they use and all that stuff, but I would be very interested. Maybe you'd be interested in if I put a bounty on bringing the Descent devs on to discuss some of these things with you guys in the next hangout. And maybe even they would be willing to give out some tokens to the people who are here in this hangout. I'm very interested, though, in seeing you guys move forward and what you're planning on doing and where you're going with it. I would definitely want to know a little bit more in terms of like the numbers that you guys are asking, how you would use Beyond Bits, if Beyond Bits are necessary. The Whaletank isn't necessarily just to get the Beyond Bits, but it's a heck of a value proposition if you're trying to build something, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that would be another thing that I would love you guys to consider as you're working forward with this. But I would love if you could bring the Descent devs on too, just because, or somebody as a community representative from them. There's a lot of places where maybe we can work together. I think that if they come on and they talk a little bit about it too with the community, they might be able to give a little bit more of an idea as in terms of costs and things like that, and maybe answer some community questions and get some insight from the people who are here who kind of live and breathe in the graphene space since even before Descent existed. So,
yeah, I'm sure it would be awesome to have that channel communication open, because I think they don't even realize that this humongous community of active graphene developers are here, or people that are interested in it. And so and the other thing about them is that I think they still have that humongous war chest from their ICO that they did a little while ago, and I think they're just spending conservatively, and so they definitely have the ability, or at least the funding, to be able to keep on building things. And so if we just help maybe focus them and see what they're doing, then I think we can probably work well together.
Well, we can go as far as to also say that Steam can distribute large amounts of funding per year. BitShares has well over $100 million worth of reserve pool funds that can be used toward development of things. If Descent also has an ICO that has a lot of funds that they earn from their ICO that they can use, they can all benefit. All these graphene chains can benefit by building common infrastructure that they all need. Maybe, for instance, there's a documentation effort between all graphene chains. Wouldn't that be amazing? So these are just things that I would love if you can help get this together and maybe reach out to them and keep me up to date. I would definitely reward anybody who pushes forward and helps us talk to them about some potential working together.
Yeah, I think Nutella wasn't able to do it immediately, but they did offer to have a meeting with him in person, because I think they're pretty close geographically, so that'll be cool. And so he did take the opportunity though to do the telephone call, which was really great of them. But yeah, I think he also has that open invitation to be able to go visit them at their offices, and then and I'm sure we could approach them even before that point about coming on here.
Yeah, I'd like to see, because when CM Steam is bringing this stuff up, to my knowledge, and maybe CM Steam can say whether I'm right or wrong, but Gridcoin, I believe, rewards you Gridcoin for storing stuff. So you might actually be able to partner up with them in some way, in shape or form too. I don't know, but it'd be something that these are the types of things that we can explore.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, guys. Well, we are at about 11 seconds, so I'm going to just stop it before it ring-a-ling-a-lings on us. And I'll just say, if there's any way that people can reach out to you, Apple Crisp, if they want to help you with your endeavor that I'm trying to get you to bring somebody from the Descent team on, or any of the other things that you're doing, how would they reach you?
Yeah, actually, so I guess mostly probably Discord would be best, or on here. So Nutella, so I'm just Apple Crisp. It's like the standard spelling of like the dessert, APPLE crisp, and then Nutella is NUTELA, so just like one L, and he's also on Discord and on Steemit.
Well, thank you for joining up, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say thank you to everybody who joins up to these Hangouts, promotes them. If you do promote them, if you are doing things that benefit our ecosystem, make sure to reach out to me and show me links on it, along with your BitShares address, and I will consider giving out tokens to those people who are supporting things. I am powering down a little bit to reach the 300K level, and we will be moving those over into something called EOS bits at some point in time. But until then, we are going to continue the Whaletank here completely on Steam. And I'm also always going to try to continue supporting Steam as much as we possibly can, because it's one of the places that started it. And, it was launched here, so it's one of our historical little chains. But if we can create synergy between other chains that exist out there, that is something that we should be definitely considering. And if you have connections with these chains, please consider reaching out to them. I'll also say one final thing. Make sure to please consider upvoting and re-steaming our RSVP posts, sharing them on social media and to friends, because the sharing is how we spread the word of what we're doing in an organic way that actually has persisted quite well through a lot of storms and is continually growing, as you see. So I really appreciate everybody joining up. Please share this content organically, and please help us wherever you can, and leverage what we have to help you, because that's just as important as that you help yourself. So with that said, thank you everybody, and we will see you next Saturday for the Whaletank, and we will go ahead and we'll start the after party.